All right, level 3 notes are compound inequalities where they're separated with a word and or an or. So this means that the solution could be in two places if it's an or. If it's an and graph, it's got to be satisfied by both inequalities. So if you're looking at number 6, graph the following compound inequality. X is less than or equal to -2 or x is greater than 3. So if we've got x is less than or equal to -2, I'm going to go ahead and graph that first. So that's going to be a closed circle on -2. And it's going to be shaded. Use a different color here. It's going to be shaded over the numbers that are smaller than -2. For greater than 3, it'll be an open circle on 3, and then shaded where the numbers are greater than 3. So if you notice for an or inequality, the shading is on the outside of the graph. Okay, just a little clue to make sure that you're checking your work and making sure that you're right. For an and graph, what you want to do is graph these two things separately, and then your solution is where they overlap. So if I have x is greater than -2, it'll be an open circle on 2, greater than 2, -2. And then I'll do the other one in blue. X is less than or equal to 4. So closed circle on 4 and shading where they're less than 4. So now if we look at where those graphs overlap, it's going to be from 4, a closed circle, to -2 and everywhere in between. So you're basically laying each graph on top of each other and shading where they overlap. Okay. So notice that for an and inequality, it's the intersection of two inequalities. We could also write this inequality as 1 and say x is less than or equal to 4, but greater than -2. So you can write it as a whole. Number 8, so we're solving inequalities now. So again, it's much like solving an equation. What you do on one side of the equal sign, you do to the other. Same thing with an inequality. What you do on one side of an inequality sign, you have to do on the other. Letter A is special because we've got two inequality signs. So what we do in the middle, we've got to do on the left and then on the right. So here I would multiply by 2. So I have to multiply by 2 on the left and on the right. So I've got -4 is less than or equal to x plus 1 is less than 4. And then I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And I'll get 5 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 3. This should be a -5. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our graph, and since it's an and, a compound inequality, I know that from -5, a closed circle, to +3, an open circle, the shading should be in between. And to check, you can separate these two. X is less than 3, and x is greater than or equal to -5. In letter B, you're solving these two inequalities, just separately. So for the first one, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And you'll get x is less than -3. So that's 1. The second one, I'll subtract 5. And I get 2x is greater than 6. And x is greater than 3. So my two inequalities are x is less than -3 or x is greater than 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my graph, and since it's an or, these arrows should be pointing on the outside of the lines. So at -3, I got an open circle, and it's less than. And for x is greater than 3, it's also going to be an open circle, but it's greater than. So I know that I'm correct because my arrows are pointing in opposite directions. C says circle all numbers from the set below that are solutions to the inequality in part B. So we look at -7. Is -7 less than -3 or greater than 3? Yes, it's less than -3. Is -3 a solution to either one? No, because it's not equal to. Is negative 2 less than negative 3? No. Is negative 2 greater than 3? No. Is 0 less than negative 3? No. Is it greater than 3? No. Same thing with 3 as it was for negative 3. The inequalities are not equal to, they're just greater than. 3.2 is not less than 3, but it is greater than 3, so we say it is a solution. Same thing with 4. It's not less than negative 3, but it is greater than 3, so it is a solution. And same thing with 100. So with an or inequality, a solution just has to satisfy, I'm spelling this totally wrong. So what you want to do, so with an or inequality, what has to happen in order for it to be a solution is it just has to be a solution for one inequality. And those are level 3 notes.